Without a shadow of a doubt, it's the crunkiest show in social media history. I want to welcome you to another episode of the War Zone. I got my man in the building, Donovan Sadiq. I got the queen, Demetra K, and I am the 5-star general. Say, my good white people, y'all playing, man, but them youngsters ain't. Say, last couple days, they laid a couple of y'all down. Say, man, you better stop playing with them. We're going to talk about it tonight. 2 murders and 2 youngsters that was bodied. Say, man, I want to welcome you to another episode of the War Zone, and I want to tell you thank you. And we really appreciate you guys tuning in as usual. And you the best audience in the world, tuning in to the best show in the world. So I'm going to start it off like this here, because I ain't even told Demetra and Donna. You know, on ESPN, they got that little bar at the bottom where stuff be scrolling across. Well, a lot of people in Houston, prominent people, they don't never want their name mentioned on the War Zone. Because, you know, if I mention you on the War Zone, I might be talking something major. But I tell you what, I ain't going to mention your name. But there's a prominent pastor that did something fucked up. And guess what? The OG got it. You finna have some problem, homeboy. And I don't think you're going to be in God's house too long. Now, this ain't the little shade tree church on the corner with 7 members. This is a prominent pastor. I ain't going to say nothing, but I promise you, I'm about to lay hands on you, homeboy. Donovan, what's going on?
Hey, you guys, Happy New Year. Let's be optimistic. It's a brand new year, a lot of stuff going on. Big things are happening here at the War Zone. Things are just getting better. The information's getting out. New black media. For those of you guys that were partying this weekend and getting over your headache and going down to the Nasty Kitty and, you know, dropping it like it's hot. President Donald Trump, once again, was caught on tape gangstifying it, saying, I need you to come up with 11,728 votes. Find them. And just so you guys know, if you guys have been following my page real quick, I've been doing an audit of the Congressional Black Talkers. And an audit is, if you've ever been at a job and you have an annual performance report, that's what we should be doing to our servants. Because if we do that, then we would know what they're doing and then know if we need to fire them or keep them or give them a promotion or give them a raise, right? We do that and we're working. But why don't we do that for our civil servants? So for you guys that don't know, Hakeem Jeffries of the 8th Congressional District of New York, when they asked him about what the Democrats are going to do, or even what the Congressional Black Caucus is going to do in regards to Donald Trump doing the criminal activity that he is doing, Mr. Jeffries said the same thing that Obama said about Trump. I just want to look forward. But if you look forward and don't prosecute this man, wouldn't you be validating everything Donald Trump has said about being president? I'm above the law. I could do anything I want. I'm above the law. So basically, you're signing on to that? You guys, we've been trying to tell you guys, these people, they might look like you, but they ain't for you. Demetra.
So hello, everybody. Welcome to Monday night's edition of the War Zone. And I guess it's the first War Zone of 2021. And so welcome to a new year, if you will. And so if you haven't already, could you please share this video so that everyone else can get the information and join in on the conversation? We are going to be talking about 2 cases that a lot of people have not heard of yet, and they need to hear of it. Specifically because our stories, as we know, rarely get covered in the mainstream media, if you will. As Dr. Claude Anderson says, Black media owns less than 3%, or Black people own less than 3% of the media. And so we don't really get our stories out like everyone else, with everyone else being white and or whoever owns media outlets. And so that's why it's important to support new Black media, especially because you're going to get the stories that you would not hear of ordinarily here. And so we're going to talk about two cases, both involving young Black men who have found themselves caught up in the judicial system due to trying to defend themselves. And so Gary is going to tell us first about the story out of Louisiana that he just got wind of that yesterday, as a matter of fact, as he was on his way back to Houston. And I'm going to fill you in about another story that comes out of Mississippi. So again, if you could do us a favor and share. Gary?
If you can, give me the pronunciation of that last name again.
Jaquit?
Jaquit. The young man name is Cameron Jaquit. This happened in Terrebonne Parish, little town close to Thibodaux, Louisiana. Now, I'm down there when it happened, but I didn't get wind of it. And somebody reached out to me and told me, man, you need to look at this. Well, what happened is, and we'll just call him Cam, because that's what his mom calls him. Yeah, I done talked to mom, so y'all can get ready. Talked to mom, and she said Cam went to a party, and this white guy disrespected a girl. I don't know if the girl was Black or white or whatever, but Cam defended the girl, and the white guy fires off on him and hits him. All of a sudden, you got 8 white guys on camera. And I mean, they beat the hell out of him. If you could see the pictures of what they did to him, blood coming out his eye, mouth split open real bad. They drug him. And when you look at the video, it's not very long. You can hear them talking about whooping that nigga. And somehow, according to his mom, because Cameron never left the house without his gun, somehow Cameron gets his gun and shoots one of them in the back 8 times. Not one white person was arrested. Now, if you saw the video, this is nothing short of attempted murder on Cameron. It's nothing short of aggravated assault for everybody that was involved. But Cameron's the only person that went to jail and charged with 2nd-degree murder, which carries, I think, a mandatory life sentence without the possibility of parole. And Cameron would probably reside in Angola State Penitentiary for the rest of his life. At the moment, Cameron does not have a bond. He went to court this morning, and because he didn't have an attorney, I've never heard this before, because he did not have an attorney, the judge would not give him a bond. So Cameron is in Terrebonne County, Terrebonne Parish, locked up behind 8 white guys jumping him and him defending himself. And now the I guess, some of the white guys supporters, or maybe the dead white guy supporters, and I have the texts and the inboxes, and yeah, I got all that, y'all. You're threatening his baby's mother. You're threatening the kid. So they call OG. Okay, well, if that's how y'all want to play it, then let's play it. But it ain't going to go down like that. Bottom line, you may not want to bother that girl and that baby because karma's a bitch and somebody might bother you and your family. So this is what they did to Cameron, and which is just straight up BS. 8 on 1, beat the hell out of him, damn near killed him, but he ended up getting up, shooting one of them in the back 8 times.
In defense of himself, it just seems funny that if that was the situation was reversed, and that was, the Vanilla Ice guy at the Black Party, it would be all about his, defending himself against these attackers and stuff, things like that. Because I find it hard to believe, as a logical thinker, that this one person is the aggressor in this situation based on what, you just described. So common sense would be, yeah, he must be defending himself, but we don't know that yet. But to not give him a chance to bond out doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Nobody was killed, for thank goodness. But the idea was the fact that we are getting to a point, and me and OG talked about this before we came on air. You're not dealing with civil rights handkerchief head Negroes anymore. You're not dealing with the John Lewises that for some reason woke up and said, you know, today I'm going to walk to that bridge and get my ass beat. You ain't talking with those type of black people. You're talking with these kids that ain't going to have it because they don't see a future. So we need to stay on top of this story. And there's another story that's going to come that's very, very similar that we followed. But we really have to take our children to task and remind them and teach them, be aware of your surroundings. Yes, defend yourself to the utmost. But, you know, some of these parties you go to, you know, I don't know, these new parties that these kids, it ain't like when we were in the basement back in the day and you had the big old boom box and you put your little slow jam, you put your Jodeci on or whatever it was. You know, these kids are into these big mixers and you don't know who is there. So, Demetra?
And before I get into my story, Gary, so did they say why they didn't bring charges against the 8 white guys?
Well, ain't nobody gonna say it like the OG. They ain't gonna bring no charge against no white boy down there in that neck of the woods. They ain't gonna do that. You know, but like Donovan said, if it was reversed, you know, they'd have said it was self-defense and they'd have arrested the 8 black guys that would have jumped on him and charged them to the maximum. So no, and Vivian asked, has a fund been set up for him? Yes, they had a GoFundMe set up, but somebody told a lie, had the thing jammed up, and they ended up shutting it down. So they're trying not to allow this family to get the funding that is needed to be able to get this kid out of jail. They playing dirty.
So what I'm going to show you all here is a video of Deshawn Douglas. Deshawn Douglas resides in Mississippi, Brandon, Mississippi. Now, this is on December 28th. Okay, so I want to let you guys watch the video first, and then I'm going to give you some background on the video so it all makes sense. Okay, so here we go. Let me go ahead and rewind it back a little bit.
You no fucking man. You no fucking man. You ain't never seen no fucking blood, bitch. Sit your ass down. I hurt your ass. I hurt your ass, nigga. I don't give a fuck who you is, boy. God, nigga, you throwing mud and shit like a little ass bitch. Get somewhere else. I swear to God, I hurt your ass, nigga. On God, bro. On God, bro. You look around here, you around you white people and this shit, nigga. They want to fucking police, nigga. On God, you go somewhere else. I swear to God, bro. You want to be like this, man. On God, bro. I swear to God, man. I swear to God, man. All right, bitch. What's going on, man? I want to know you, bro. I swear to God, man. Let's go back.
World Star. World Star. World Star.
I really should have hurt you, bro, but I ain't gonna do it. Because you got a fucking family, man. Shit, boy. That's my thing, man. Yeah, you stand up on this. Yeah, you go busy, man. Just looking like we went forward and shit, man. Fuck, man. Race the fuck.
World Star.
Fuck that, man. Man, the fuck. Man, the fuck. Hey, bro. Hey, bro. You're a piece of shit. Hey, bro. No, he's hey, bro. Oh. You're drunk. No, hey, man, help me. You're drunk as fuck. Help me. Help me. Just go.
Okay, so I wanted you all to see the video. So what you just saw was Deshawn Douglas being harassed by his neighbor, Christopher Millen. Now, this is not their first time having a run-in. They are actually neighbors. And so Christopher Millen is the white guy For months, he has been harassing Deshawn and his entire family, including his 13-year-old brother. Now, in October, Christopher, the white guy, decided to show up at Deshawn's house with a shovel, swinging a shovel. And so at that point, Deshawn called the police, and they both ended up in court. And instead of the judge prosecuting or charging Christopher, the white guy, she or he, whoever the judge was, imposed a stay away order, which essentially is a restraining order for Christopher to stay away from Deshawn, the black teenager. Okay, so fast forward to December 28th, which is the video you saw. The white guy once again finds himself at Deshawn's, or they call him Sean, Sean's house. And you guys saw what unfolded. The white guy is continuously harassing him. Now, you also saw Deshawn walking away. And from the part that we caught up with it, you saw the white guy, you know, getting him around his neck and then pulling him to the ground and putting his legs around his neck. Now, the video footage that we did not see, for whatever reason, I don't know, is that of Deshawn actually shooting Christopher, the white guy, to death. It is said that he shot 4 to 6 shots at him. 4 of them landed on him, and 1 of them hit him in the back, him being the white guy in the back. And so now Deshawn is in jail on a Capital One murder charge. Now, his lawyer, being Sean's lawyer, says that, well, we're invoking the stand your ground law, or the no duty to retreat law, which says that I could be anywhere defending myself as long as I have legal standing. Now, some people will say, well, he left his porch. Well, he had the right to do that. Now, the other thing, because I did some more research, is he was supposed to be helping somebody detail some cars. He being Sean. And so maybe that's why he left the porch, because the people said, we just talked to him 10 to 15 minutes before we actually heard the gunshots. And so perhaps he was going, you know, to help them detail the cars. But Christopher's wife, the white guy, you know, of course, she's saying, I want him to be punished to the fullest extent of the law. He took my everything from me, and it's not right, and this, that, and the other. So you guys know, they're in the heart of Mississippi, the dirty South. The laws were not made to benefit Black people. The laws were made to, you know, make sure Black people stay in their place. And so as I continue to talk about this, a lot of people are completely unaware of his case. And this is partially how the system, railroad our Black men, Cam and Deshawn alike, because we do not know about these things. The mainstream media will not publicize these things. Now, I should say, in every article I've seen about Deshawn, they posted his mugshot. But we know when the white boys, let's take the Kyle Rittenhouse, for example, the one that went to Kenosha, Wisconsin, and shot it all up. You know, they want to tell you about he's a 17-year-old kid and, you know, all this, that, and the other, but they want to demonize our youth. And so I'm going to say this before I give it to Gary. This is why, especially when we all have social media platforms, I'm not saying that we shouldn't engage in some of the fun stuff, but when we have cases like this out there, we should use our platforms more responsibly to put this information out there. Because again, if we do not, for one, hear about it and do something about it and cause awareness, they're going to complete, you know, a Capital One murder charge carries. That's a death sentence. That's a death penalty. He is more than likely to be sentenced to a death penalty for defending himself. Now, this is not just hearsay. There's records, court records and documents of Deshawn saying, hey, this dude is being, you know, is bothering me and my family. And so he is dead. And Deshawn is in jail on a Capital One murder charge. He is going to court tomorrow to see if he can get bonded out, because he's not a threat, never has been, doesn't have a record or anything like that. So his lawyer is going to argue that he should be let out on bond until his trial. So, Gary?
Well, you know how they get down in the state of Mississippi. You know what they do in Mississippi. I want to make you good law-abiding white citizens aware of something. These youngsters ain't our ancestors. You know, back in the day when the Ghetto Boys first started, they had a song called Trigger Happy Nigga. Y'all need to stop playing. Because every time you look up and you talk to your people, it's not all you good white people, but some of your people getting hit in the face with tea cans because your mouth, the stuff you saying, the stuff that you're doing. And these young black brothers ain't taking that. The one thing I know about them, I know two things about them. One, they're fearless. And two, this younger generation don't take ass whoopings too well. They don't believe in that. They're gonna bust back. But just from a decent human being standpoint, we need to separate. I'm just telling you the truth. It's not working. We have no protection from the political arena. We have no protection from the judicial arena, law enforcement arena. It's just time for us to go about our business, man. Just give us our 40 acres and a mule, and we can get the hell away from some of y'all, man. Look, this ain't working, man. It ain't working, man. And I live in what they call the most diverse city in America. The most segregated city in America. It's worse than Mississippi. It's worse than Mississippi. But for me to y'all, basic mathematics, 2 minus 1 mean you stay on your side of the goddamn country and we'll stay on ours. Because it's just not working. Donovan?
Hey, but wait a minute. Wait a minute. Separate from this good white man? Where you gonna get a better house than you get here? After all he's done for us, you want us to leave? And, you know, I'm saying that facetiously for the simple fact that subconsciously, a lot of us think that the white man's ice is colder than ours. We can't do anything without the white man supporting us or backing us or, you know, being comfortable. And that is why we have to start looking at our elected officials. And I was saying this on my podcast last week. Isn't it funny that, let's say, a good example, Houston, predominantly a lot of black people live down in Houston, right? What do the politicians or wannabe politicians say? I'm going to do this for you when I get there. And, you know, we got to stop this. We need better schools. We need better all, you know, they say everything to identify with you because they're black. Their skin is just as black as you, right? But then you look at their congressional record, they're on the everybody train. No record of anything specific done specifically for black people other than post offices being named and civil rights commemoration stuff. I've done 9 congressional black talkers, not one of them. And I'm talking about the senior ones working my way back has done anything specific legislation or even introduced it. Yes, your Sheila Jackson Lee has not done anything. I don't want to talk about a study. Nothing specific to the black agenda, but yet they say they represented us. But you people will go out there and defend these people based on their record. You know, we got to do better. We got to do better.
No, yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree that we have to do better. But as I said, you know, earlier, I think it's really important for us to, at some point in time, get on code. And that simply means sticking together for one common cause. And that really is Black liberation. Because, you know, white people, one thing they do is stay on code. And we, you know, talk about Kyle Rittenhouse, the 17-year-old white guy that went to Kenosha, Wisconsin, and, you know, did a shoot him up. He had a $2 million bail bond, and they raised it. They being, you know, people from all over, white supremacists, including that of Ricky Schroeder of Silver Spoons. He helped them get the final $250,000 that bonded him out. And so he's free. You haven't heard anything really about Kyle since he bonded out. But the point that I'm making is, regardless of how we feel about it, they are able to stay on code and making sure that, you know, he is portrayed as the victim. Well, he was just really out there trying to protect people. And he was, you know, they was messing with him. Never mind the fact that his mother drove him there as a 17-year-old kid, armed to the teeth, looking for trouble, was able to walk amongst the police, and nobody thought, well, this kid looks kind of young, you know, to be running around with guns. And so never mind that he killed 2 people and injured another. We just want America to know that he's an innocent, poor little white kid, and they raised $2 million. $2 million to get this kid out. Now, you guys, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Who has $2 million laying around? Well, white people who are on code, regardless of what their people do, they're going to be on code and stick together. And we need to do the same thing, especially, you know, and it's kind of our fault too. That the fact that Cam and Sean are in the situation they're in is kind of our fault, my generation's fault, our parents' generation's fault, because we continue to turn the other cheek and continue to vote for oppression and, you know, every way, shape, and form, and just hope and wish and pray that everything is going to get better, instead of taking the advice of Malcolm X that says stop singing and start swinging. We have left these young men to hang out to dry because we have the spine of jellyfish, and we keep waiting for white supremacy to actually treat us better. They're not going to do that. And so at some point in time, we got to stick together and get on code by any means necessary. Like, we should not be something we come before you guys with every night and say, okay, well, here's another one. Did you hear about this case over here? Well, what about this case over here? They should be deathly afraid. Christopher, who is now in the ground 6 feet deep or getting ready to push up some daisies, he should have been very afraid to keep approaching that black young man and his whole family, because he should have known that black people were going to come see his ass behind what he was doing to that man and his family, especially his 13-year-old little brother. So at some point in time, we got to put away the shenanigans. Stop, as you know, Neely Fuller Jr. said, stop looking to party and having a good time and kikiing and ha-ha. We don't have nothing to celebrate when our young men are looking at doing life in prison or a death penalty for something that was avoidable if we would just get up off of our ass physically and mentally and do something about it.
What was the young man's name in Mississippi?
Deshawn Douglas.
The only problem I see that Deshawn had, and I'm being honest, he should have issued out an ass whooping a long time ago. When you cross my property line and you on my property and I've told you to exit, you can do it standing up or you can do it laying down. But one way or the other, you're going to get your ass off my property. He should have whooped his ass long time ago.
And that's what his lawyer was saying, that they were smart. They, being Deshaun's family, was smart enough not to allow the white supremacists, that's what we're going to call him, not to allow the white supremacists to keep trying to bait him into a fight, because, you know, the Gary there in Mississippi. And unfortunately, that's not something, as we see, that's going to turn out good. And so, you know, like a lot of people, and, you know, Malcolm X had that philosophy, hey, we good as long as you don't put your hands on me. Until then, if you put your hands on me, I'm going to send you to the cemetery. And so I think that's the approach they were coming at it with. But, you know, as his lawyer also said, yeah, I think it was killing him was necessary, because who's to say he wasn't going to stop until he actually killed one of Deshaun's family members. And so he was just kind of left without a choice. So the dude forced his hand at that point.
I just think that it's okay to be law abiding. But like Malcolm said, I'm nonviolent with those that are nonviolent with me. So when you walk your ass across my property line and you start threatening me, I'm gonna bust you in your ass right there. I'm not finna play with you. I'm not finna talk to you. I don't give a damn if we in Mississippi or we in heaven and Jesus standing there monitoring the situation. I'm gonna bust your ass right there because I told you to get off my property. That's my main conversation at that point. I don't want to hear nothing you talking about. Get off my property. And I'm gonna tell you, a lot of this will stop if we start busting them in their goddamn mouth with more of them tea cans. You don't get the right to say anything you want to me. Now, me, I'm gonna be honest with you, D. You know, if you want to take me to jail, to do what the fuck you need to do, get me down there before they start feeding motherfuckers. I don't care. But you ain't finna handle me like I'm no bitch on my property. Not gonna happen. And now, look where we at, because he had no choice. He had no choice. You bust a bullet in the mouth. You don't run from him. Even if you get your ass whooped, he ain't gonna bother you no more. I can guarantee you that. But you swing on his ass first and bust him in his ass, and then a lot of this shit gonna stop. What we gotta do, like you said, we gotta stop singing and start swinging. We ain't gotta keep being nonviolent. I'm being honest with y'all, man. I'm 52 years old. I ain't never took no ass whooping. And I ain't gonna take one at 52 or 53. Ain't gonna happen. No, not gonna happen. So if you black, white, Latino, and you plan on disrespecting me, you know what come with it, homeboy. 5'4" on your ass like a wild alley cat.
You know, and again, all of these shootings are happening. Why aren't you guys, like I've been doing, I'm watching the news just like you guys are doing, and I'm wondering, where is the black congressional leadership talking about this? Where's the city council, the black city council members talking about this? You know, that thing, him not getting bail, the city council member, the aldermen, they should be down there to do something about that. Claude Foster, thanks for tuning in tonight. You know, Claude just put up that in Texas, Al Green's district is only 38.9%. Sheila Jackson Lee's district is only 36.4%. Maxine Waters' district is only 22.6%. Okay, but they're still black representatives, right? So they're going to use our story, our struggle to get elected. That doesn't give them a pass not to put out a black agenda. They know black people are living in poverty at 70%, at or below the poverty line. So by putting these smoking mirrors up, you know, we're just having a conversation. Don't get upset or anything. Your percentage of whatever, that is no excuse. If I go to Congress or I get elected as a black man, I am going to present a black agenda regardless, because guess who are the people that put me in office? It damn sure wasn't no white folks.
I'm going to say this here. We're just going to have to cut out the foolishness. And we're just going to have to speak the real for a second. So good white people, I ain't talking to you. I'm talking to black people. And Donovan putting up all this information about our black representatives, has it not occurred to you that these black motherfuckers don't represent us? That they don't do jack shit for us? Whether you want to accept it or not, our situation has been dire for many moons. And it's because of the people that are representing us. That's why I don't want to take no pictures with you motherfuckers. I don't come to your galas. None of that shit. Fuck all y'all. I'm being straight up with y'all. Not Ron Reynolds and folks like that, because my man get out. But some of y'all ain't worth a damn, and people just need to tell the truth. In the meantime, while y'all trying to deal with, like Donovan putting up the stuff, you know, on them, and people saying here we need help passing bills, y'all go do all that shit. But what I'm gonna tell my people, you defend yourself with everything in your power. I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. Issue out that ass whooping and deal with the consequences that come with it. Now, if it take old 5-star to get down to Mississippi and raise some hell, I want y'all to understand in Mississippi, because I done told y'all before and been down that way. The sheet I wear is black. I cut the eyes out that motherfucker too. I'm gonna tell you straight up, you don't scare me, period. I bleed just like you bleed. I deal with everyday issues, man, but I don't bother anybody. So we got to get out this mentality where we scared to go to jail and now we don't need to do it. So you telling me we just gonna keep standing there taking these ass whooping? These folk disrespecting us? What did they do to Emmett Till, and what did he actually do? They said he looked at a white woman and it was consequences. So if your conversation ain't right for me and you come up on me with that foolishness, I'm gonna swell your lip up.
Well, I would say this. A lot of people, and especially a lot of our people, would have less fear of going to jail and repercussions if they knew they had a nation behind them to, you know, to back them up. But we don't. We don't have a nation behind us like the rest of them do. Asians, white people. I mean, Latasha Harkins rather. You know, they just put a mural up in Los Angeles about her, but the Asian lady shot her as she was leaving the store. But her community, the Asian community, got behind her and make sure she didn't do any jail time. And white people do the same thing. And so, yeah, it would be easier for us to do that if we knew we had an army of black people that say, hey, you know what? My brother or my sister is not going down for the count. Like the young lady, she's a mother actually, when she got sentenced to 5 years behind enrolling her child in a different school district. But you got this white woman, Lori Loughlin, the movie star. She did a hot second in prison and did way worse because they know they'll have to face more of a backlash from white people than black people. We just let our brothers and sisters rot in jail and we move on to the next case. Oh, it's unfortunate, but we gonna, and then, y'all know I love Shaun King. I'm a follower of Shaun King, and people give Shaun King so much grief. They give him so much grief, but the brother is effective. Because I saw somebody in the comment section say, it's something like it's a shame that all of our organizations do not get together. We don't have one organization to follow. But to me, it would be nice if we got behind the people who are actually doing the work, who are bringing awareness to the plight of our people. But yeah, it's easier to swing a fist and to pull a trigger if you know you got somebody behind you, a nation behind you that will not stand for them railroading you. So like I said, in my original comment, that's kind of our fault that our people are in the situation they're in because we don't go to bat for them. We leave them, to hang out there to dry and then move on to the next thing. So.
Exactly. Car Be Easy, he's on YouTube. He put in a comment. He says, they need help passing bills. Okay, I'm going to break this down and I'm going to get to Fayetteville, Bowie. And like I said, this is a great conversation, you guys. This is why we do this. We want you to think of the alternative. We want you to think outside the box of what's normal. It's called critical thinking. Just critically think. He says they need help passing the bills. Okay, there are 55 members of the Congressional Black Caucus. 55 members. Nancy Pelosi just won re-election to Speaker of the House by guess how many votes? 12. 12 votes. So what does that mean? So let's do our math and just use our common sense and use our gambling thing and use our political savvy. If she just won re-election by 12 votes because no Republicans voted for her, so that means she has to either get all of the Democrats to vote for her or none of her legislation gets passed. So there's 55 congressional black members. Guess who controls the legislation of the 117th Congress right now? The Congressional Black Talkers. They control it. What? She won by 12 votes. That's the margin they have to pass any legislation. So all they've got to do now, if I was in the Congressional Black Talkers Congress, I would say, well, I want this, this, and this. Then if you do that for me, then I'll do this for you and I'll vote for your bill. But wait a minute, I'm not going to vote for your bill first. You're going to vote for my bill first. See, so we got to start thinking that. See, so what I'm saying, Car Be Easy, that's bullshit what you're saying. That's bullshit. They don't need help passing bills. They need our vote. And as for Fayetteville, you said a politician cannot just create an agenda just for his race. This is what whites have been doing. We need politicians that will advocate for all, but regardless of race. Okay, in that statement, you just said white people do it, but then in the same statement, you said nobody can do it. But you just said white people do it. We are not on the everybody train. If you're on the everybody train, continue to be on the everybody train and get nothing, because that's what we've been getting for over 100 years. They can make specific legislation. I live in California. Reparations will never happen. It happened. It was signed into law by Gavin Newsom. The question is now, how do they distribute the money? And it's just a matter of time. So again, I'm gonna have to disagree with you. I don't know if you're of the baby boomer generation and that's just how you guys think, and God bless you if that's how you guys feel, but it's a new day. The numbers are there. We have the numbers, but we just don't know how to play the damn game because we don't hold these people accountable. And this angry talk, wouldn't you be angry if 70% of your people live in mass poverty? Or should I be happy about that?
Look like me and you were thinking the same thing. Whites been doing it. We need politicians that will advocate for all, but regardless of race. Can you show me an Asian politician that advocate for black people? Can you show me a Latino politician that advocate for black people? Now, they always want us to advocate for them. Was them black kids in them cages when all that foolishness went on? But we were standing with them, right? Where was the Latino community when they was killing Ahmaud and Floyd and Breonna? No, baby. I think you got it twisted. Let me tell you why. We've been on the back burner for so long. These people do not hide the fact that they stand up for their people. And it's time for us to stand up for ours. That's why I say we need to separate. Now, some of y'all that don't want to leave because they done freed the Negroes, then stay your ass on the plantation. And a lot of y'all say this stuff because of your financial situations that are dictated by the oppressor. So you sit on this show, you're going to say what you say, you use your real name, but I better make sure I don't say nothing pro-black. Now, as far as the angry talk polarizes people, but does not help the situation, you know why it don't help the situation? Because it ain't enough angry motherfuckers like me. Yeah, it'll help the situation. You know what's amazing? Malcolm never talked angry. He talked intellectual and intelligent. Why didn't they fuck with him? What, they didn't even have the audacity to send a white killer. Why didn't they fuck with him? It ain't angry talk, it's real talk. And I'm so sick of us tucking our goddamn tails. But the reason that a lot of people say these things is because the murder ain't came to your front door yet. Your child ain't been murdered in the park with a play gun. Your home ain't been invaded at 2 o'clock in the morning and they kill you standing in the hallway or kill one of your people. There needs to be consequences for their actions, whether it's in the streets or whether it's in the courtroom.
Yeah, and by the way, further down the comments, she says, too much race talk instead of solutions. I'm tapping out. That is our problem right there. People like her right there are the problem. They're on this kumbaya shit and love everybody. And when we talk about doing for ourselves, because we're not asking anybody for help, we're saying, you know what, we're going to do it on our own. But she's the type of person that would say, stay on the everybody train. She's the tool of white supremacy. We hit her with facts and she had no playbook to go to respond. Critical thinking, that's what we want you guys to do. Is there an alternative? The alternative is these people and all these other groups do not give a damn about us. All the wealth is being taken. We have to save ourselves at this point because nobody else is going to do it.
She also says, though, okay, I stand corrected and I'm angry about how we are treated because the Latinx and the Asians are getting more than us. So what is the plan to separate us? I am listening. And so that is very refreshing. Fayetteville, that you have the ability to be open-minded, because that's what we need, actually. We need people to be able to hear information and then, say, okay, well, I do stand corrected. I need to know more and I need to learn more. So I applaud you for being, I have some feedback, you guys. I applaud you for being able to change your mind and say, I am listening. I am actually open to learning more. But imagine if everybody took that attitude or more people took that attitude, we'd be a lot better off because Fayetteville, I don't know how old you are, but there's a lot of people, especially in what they call the baby boomer demographic, if you will. They are unwilling to change their mind. They are happy with their little piece of the pie. I've made it. I don't have to live, separated from white people. I got my home and my 401k and all of that. And so they're unwilling to hear new information to help everybody. So I applaud you for that. But yeah, I mean, regardless of, who we send to office and who's in office, the ball falls back in our court as the people who have the ability to vote for them, because we know they're not going to do anything for us. They haven't done anything for us specifically since they've gotten in office, to the tune of 30 plus years in a lot of cases. And so why do we keep expecting these people to go do something? That is on us. And, was it yesterday they all were sworn in Congress, and there's a picture of the squad floating around with AOC and, Ilhan Omar and the rest of them. And they all voted for Nancy Pelosi, who has not moved the ball at all. I mean, she and Mitch McConnell are in the same bed. They've done nothing to help the American people, and they wield the most power in Congress, and they've done nothing. And so these people who we see as progressives and, these black heroes and sheroes, they continue to vote for oppression as well. And so I don't know.
Stacey Campbell said, I think it would be easier for most to speak up, act boldly if there wasn't a fear of being fired, blackballed, arrested, etc., which comes back to why it's important for us to be in control of our own resources. Got to break this cycle. I agree with you. So what the fuck we waiting on? This shit been going on forever, man. Why do we continue to deal with these people in the way that we deal with them? Okay, so you don't want to pull the pistol. You're scared to spark the llama. I get it. You're scared to spark it. So what other way could we beat them? What other way could we make them feel it? Right now, you got all the ammunition. Pull your motherfucking kids out them schools so they can't make no money. Homeschool them. A lot of them ain't going to school anyway. They're at home with them computers. Take them out of the system so that they don't make any money off of them. Take your money and go and spend it in black-owned businesses. When you affect their economy, they will listen. You sit here, you gain the knowledge, but yet you ignore your history. You ignore the Montgomery bus boycotts. You ignore how you even got the initial right to be fucked over less than they were fucking over you back then. And it was all about them crippling and destroying the Montgomery transportation system. Black people then had discipline about themselves. They would walk to work before they would get on white man transportation. They would walk to work and to school before they got in a cab. They crippled their economy. Why do you think they don't have a problem giving you 1,200 and 600? Because those that have gotten a 6, you done already gave it back. When you wake up and you stop feeding your money to these people, then I can tell you the most racist of all of them, especially if he owns a white-owned business, will bow the fuck down to you, and you will become the most important person in the goddamn world. Stop playing. The plan is there. But some of us, I saw the brother this weekend that they locked in solitary confinement for 9 months because he figured out how to create his own goddamn clothing line inside of the penitentiary. If a brother can create his own clothing line inside of the penitentiary, what can you Negroes do out here in the free world? You got too many excuses when it comes to being great. And you keep asking for us to show you the way. It's been shown. The minister has told you. Demetra has told you. Donovan and 5 Star have told you. But you refuse to do it. And on this pagan white man holiday that just passed, you spent the bulk of your money on shit that you didn't even need. If you bought a PS5 for your child instead of buying him reading material because he can't fucking read, you didn't accomplish the goal. If you took the next amount of your money that all you had left and you went bought all that bullshit and them fireworks. Think about where your money going, man. They get all your money and they shit in your face. Man, you stop spending your money, you're going to get some act right around this place.
You know, I'm reading Miss Bowie's thing. I have a friend that's named Bowie. I wonder if you guys are related. But she says, I'm 72 and I grew up hard in a bad Chicago neighborhood and I'm still there teaching and trying to help. That's exactly what we need you to do. But Miss Bowie, what I want to say, and again, I apologize if I came off disrespectful, but usually somebody that has that kind of philosophy, and, you know, and I'm not blaming you for the way you were raised and the era you came up. You guys did phenomenal during the civil rights era. But after all the leaders got killed, the movement stopped. And we can agree on that. And that's how I can tell, kind of gauge what era you come from, because people of that era, they're like, well, we just want to see black politicians. But you didn't ask for anything. And to you guys, and I'm not speaking for you yourself, but in general, you guys are comfortable with that because nobody benefited more from the civil rights era than the very people who fought the civil rights era. So here we are, it's a new day, and you guys are trying to tell us how to fight our battles when you guys should be like, you know what? You know, this is what we did, but you guys do what you guys need to do. That's what you guys should be supporting us and what we're trying to do, because we learned how to take our money out of our black neighborhood and out of our black businesses, because you guys taught us, because you're about the same age as my parents. You guys taught us to go to Woolworths and spend our money with the white man and do all those things. That's progress. That's what you guys taught us. So what I'm saying is, the blame isn't really your generation, but it is, because instead of teaching us to do our own businesses and do our own thing, you guys, because you had all the opportunity, are like, well, don't worry, Big Mama got the babies. You go on and have your life. Oh, don't worry, do whatever. And we don't do anything. We weren't taught very much. I mean, our generation was, because we identified with you guys as being children of baby boomers. But the grandkids, that's why these kids don't know what the point of no means. Because if mom and dad won't do it for them, grandma will, grandpa will. And that's our problem. We got to fight our battle how we got to fight it.
Let me ask you a question, Donovan. Dimitri, you might know. You from California. One of the most innovative offensive minds in football was Don Coryell. He brought that vertical game to the NFL. Him along with Al Davis, right? So let me ask you a question. Are they still running 40 normal cover twos in the NFL as base defenses?
No, I don't think so.
Do we see a lot of two-back sets?
Never. Almost.
Would Kyler Murray, would Patrick Mahomes be successful if they were playing against the Steelers in the late 70s and folks like that? What I mean by all of that is shit changes.
Yeah.
We can't use the same blueprint in 2021 that you used in 1964. It's not working. Okay, so how do we handle it? If you saying we doing it wrong, okay, so the last time I went to get some water out of the water fountain, ain't nobody beat the fuck out of me. When I went to get my food at the restaurant, I didn't have to get it at the back door. See, you did your job. And like I told somebody at the Martin Luther King celebration this year when I spoke, part of the problem is where you guys failed at, the older people. You're worse than a declining athletic star. You didn't want to pass the baton. You have to pass the baton because we're not dealing with the issues that you dealt with. Yes, we're dealing with segregation, but it's a different form of segregation. And the thing is, we got far more sellout Negroes than y'all ever encountered. So no, we got to change the blueprint. It ain't working. And as far as this, having these black leaders like Fayette said about black leaders in Chicago, none of that shit matters. Because a whole bunch of these black leaders don't know what the fuck they doing. They were putting there as symbolism. They were putting up, we dealing with it down in Houston right now. Black Girl Magic, all the judges. How many of them got judicial complaints against them? Because they didn't even know how to be a damn judge. But see, we ain't gonna say nothing about it because they black. We just gonna let them operate like that. No, hell no, we calling them out.
Well, you know, I don't want to beat up on her too bad, simply because, you know, she said that she is listening, and, you know, she has a position of authority. A teacher there in Chicago. And so it'd be awesome if, you know, she take a renewed mindset and teach some of the things that she's, you know, now listening to and perhaps learning anew, because that's what we need. We need people who are able to teach our people the truth. Our people are often given the truth. Unfortunately, a lot of times we don't want to take it. But if she's in a position, you know, that she can teach and instruct those who follow, I think that's awesome.
Something, you say she's a teacher in Chicago?
Yes.
Okay, do you know, ma'am, how your school system got messed up? Do you remember Harrison Peters and Shonda Huey Hartman? I remember, because when they finished fucking up your school system, they came to Houston. And they didn't survive me 2 years. No, you don't get the fuck up out of here. That's what you're going to do. Yeah, the people that messed up your school system came to our school system. And we wasn't having it. So the best thing that you could do is take the knowledge, run with it. You got to make a decision. Am I going to stand on these 10 toes for my people, or am I going to straddle a fence? I don't straddle. And guess what? I don't work for them. They can't do me nothing. It is what it is. That's why they don't like this war zone, the new black media, because we tell the truth. And the truth is what it is. Since y'all got such of a big fucking problem with us being around you, why don't you go tell your white legislators to go on and give us our reparations and our 40 acres and a mule, and we can say, fuck y'all too.
Well, she did say that in Chicago, the black leaders and the schools are led by black leaders, and it's getting worse. So she did concede that point. But I want to go to John Deckard. How you doing, by the way? Say, question: if the Democrats win in Georgia tomorrow, how should we move forward? Love y'all show, and thank you. Well, I think we should move. I think we should also just really right off the bat say, we know that the Democrats, the liberals, have not been friendly to black people at all. We have not moved the ball under any Democratic leadership, especially since, you know, the civil rights movement. And so how should we proceed? We should proceed with, as I said earlier, getting our code, unifying, and doing for self, because neither the liberal or the conservative are going to do anything for black people. Yeah, you know, I guess they'll have a hold on the Senate and all of that. But what are they actually going to do to advance the lives of black people specifically, especially since black people overwhelmingly vote for the Democrats, and the Democrats overwhelmingly ignore us and never bring home the bacon for black people or help us in any way, shape, or form. So I think we should continue to act like we know the Democrats are not there to actually help black people.
So
right.
What should we do? I think that the thing that we can do is trade in your 12-inch dildo for a 8-inch dildo, because you're going to get fucked regardless.
You know, but that's an excellent question, because a lot of black folks think that even if the Democrats win both of those seats, and I'm a political person, so you know, I read this stuff, I absorb it up. Here's the funny thing, okay? I want you to think about this. Obama had the Congress, the Senate, and the presidency. What did he do for black people? Now, he's on the everybody train. He got healthcare through, but healthcare is no good if you can't afford the copay, which is why we always talk about the money. So Biden has already said that he is going to compromise. He's going to compromise with the Republicans, who never want to compromise with Democrats. So basically what he's going to do is he's going to use the non-activity of doing anything for black people, especially, and blame it on the Republicans. Well, you know, Mitch was obstructing me and I couldn't get it done. Wait, doesn't that sound familiar? Who also said that? Oh, that's right. That was Obama. Hey, well, you know, I tried, but Mitch was obstructing me. I couldn't get anything done. Wait, but you got DACA done. You got the Dreamer done. You got the LGBTQ done. You made the Bush tax cuts for the rich permanent, but you can't do anything. Because remember, when he sat with those so-called black leaders, this is my plantation. I'm not going to do nothing against the Constitution. Joe Biden said that. Executive orders is not in the Constitution. So what's he telling you? Don't expect me to do anything against the Constitution unless you're Mexican, or unless you're an illegal, unless you're LGBTQ, unless you're this. That's what he's saying. They're just going to use that as a smoke and mirror and watch. We will get nothing. $2,000? You guys have gotten along with $1,200 plus $600, $1,800 in 11 months and haven't said a word. If this was France or some other country, they would be tying up the interstates. So y'all don't need no more money. Obviously, you guys are cool with it.
You ain't gonna never get what you don't ask for. A closed mouth don't get fed. What we need is some politicians that's gonna honor the promises that they make when they out campaigning. So Gary Monroe gonna be a politician in November, we know that. So what's the focus of what I plan on doing? I need black children to be educated on the same level with them white kids on the west side of town. I need black kids to have the same trades in the school that the white kids have. I need black kids to have the same amount of digital access that the white kids have. Because at the end of the day, the truth has to be spoken, whether you like it or not. You need politicians that are going to tell the truth and that are going to talk like a G and walk like one too. And if they can't stand on the hill and stand up for us, then we don't need them representing us. And that's what it boils down to. I see one in the making right now, a prominent activist. I ain't gonna say where he's from, but I can see the Semite in you already, brother. I already see it coming. And when you do it, I'm gonna remind y'all I said this on this show because I see it coming. Now me, I'm not finna back down. It's just not gonna happen. In my school system, them people have been racist for the last 4 years. They've been talking about diversity. They've been talking about equity, and ain't nothing been done. So maybe we just need to start talking about you take care of yours and we take care of ours. Because you're not taking care of ours. You're not taking care of everybody. If you want me to be inclusive, then include me in your goddamn plan. And if you're not going to do that, then I'm going to ride for my people, man.
And Fayville, and I hope I'm saying your name right. You say, I'm still listening, but have not been told what to do except to go to war. What can I do without stressing myself out like I did back in the 1970s? Well, the blueprint has always been the same. And that's, we as Black people need to do for self, stop voting in oppression and, all of the things that, hell, in the 1920s, early 1900s, Marcus Garvey, had the same plan. But I always say this because a lot of times I'm one of those people who have to compartmentalize my life. And what I mean by that is a lot of times when we think about Black liberation, we think, okay, I got to put on my cape and go out there and save all of Black people. But I always say, if we save the people that are closest to us, let's start with the people we live with. Let's start with, our friends and families that we know on a personal level and start to educate them and, teach them about group economics and doing for self and, all of that kind of stuff. And then eventually the message will go to everybody else, but don't try to save everybody else. Save yourself and the people who are closest to you, and then teach them to duplicate that. And then the rest will be easy. Little less stress. That's just my opinion. It seems to be working for me anyway.
I would have to concur with that. The best thing that you can teach your students, if you can teach them anything, number one, you're a teacher, so you already know this stuff. Critically think. But for us as Black people, we have to stop thinking somebody else is going to save us. We have to save ourselves. So do for self, number two. And number three, stop falling for the symbolism. If you're voting for the same person for over 15 years and your neighborhood gets worse, stop voting for them. Put out a performance report, just like you would do with any job, and say, is this person doing this, this, and this? Then, oh, you ain't you're fired. That's what we got to start teaching our kids, to critically think for themselves, not for the neighborhood. Just because you're black, that's blue. Vote blue no matter who. No. You teach your students they need to vote their interests, because I'm in California. My interests are not the same as you in Chicago and Gary and Dimitri in Houston. We have different interests. So once we start doing that, then these parties would start paying attention to us, because you got to remember, even though Joe Biden is going to let 11 million Hispanics or whatever have a pathway to citizenship, almost 50% of them vote Republican. Think about that. Critical thinking, do for self. If you can teach your kids to do that, we're headed in the right direction.
I think what an adult can teach a kid is, if you're right, you stand up for it, no matter what you got to go through. So I'm going to ask a question, and maybe y'all can answer it. Is it true that everything that we ever got as a people, we either had to fight for it or we had to die for it? Everything we ever got, we either had to fight for it or we had to die for it. The only time that we seem to be equal to everybody else is when they got their ass in a war they couldn't win. Then you wanted to draft us in there to save your country, but then treat us like garbage in the same country that we just defended. Now, I love my service people. Got mad love for them, because you doing something I always told myself I would never do. Listen to what Muhammad Ali said when he refused to take the oath in Houston, Texas, when they drafted him. Why would I stand up for a country that doesn't stand up for me? You have to affect these people's economy. You don't need me to tell you what the blueprint is. I need you to start spending your money with the white man and start spending it with the black man. That's your blueprint. And then I need you to tell 5 of your friends to do the same thing, and they tell 5 of their friends, and the shit just keeps spreading. But the question is do we have the discipline? Do we have the discipline? You have to ask yourself that. We don't need to keep asking what's the damn plan. We know the plan. We don't want to execute it.
Absolutely. So, I mean, there's plenty of plans and blueprints out there. They're pretty much all the same. Even Ice Cube's contract with Black America. I mean, it's the makeup of all the other blueprints that came before his. Marcus Garvey, Dr. Claude Anderson, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, in the Message to a Black Man in America. So, I mean, it's all the same. It's just which one will we follow? Which one will we follow? And somebody, I wish I remember who it was in the comment section, but they made a comment about there's so many groups, and we should just really form one group. And I agree. We have so much schism in our community. This group is doing this, and this group don't want to do that. And so there's a lot going on, and really what we need to do is just get on the same page and follow a blueprint, because we're out of time. It's a fact. We are out of time as Black people in every way, shape, or form that you can think of. Dr. Claude Anderson talked about us being a permanent underclass about 20 years ago. And I think it's fair to say that we as Black people, I'm not talking about individually doing okay, driving your Mercedes and all that. I ain't talking about you individually. I'm talking about Black people as a whole. We are now a permanent underclass, and you guys know the definition of permanent. That means forever. And so if we want to try to reverse that, then we got to get on code. We have to get on the same page, stop fighting with each other, stop thinking the Democrats and the Republicans are coming to save us. They're not. They never have, and they never will. I believe in God and higher power, but stop waiting for something to fall out the sky, to rescue you. God is giving you all that you need to rescue yourself. And so, I sometimes I'm just tired of talking, because I see where we are as Black people and where we're going, and it's nowhere good. It's nowhere good unless we decide to get on the same damn page.
White people, Black people, rich people, poor people. Let's put it like that. Ain't no middle class involved in that. The stimulus, for example, the way it's set up, It's designed for them rich people. They can get millions and billions, but you get 600. Hold on a second. The rich man can get millions, but you get 600. Now, this one thing I believe in. I'm not finna beg you for something I already paid for. I pay my taxes just like everybody else. Why I got to beg you? Why I got to beg you? Those that represent me know one thing. If I don't like what I hear, homeboy, I'm finna give you the blues. I'm finna give you the blues. But think about that. The stimulus, they're rewarding the rich. And the poor people just have to survive. Where in the hell do you survive off of $1,800 for a whole year? Now, when did you get your 6 the other day? Now, you're an American citizen and you got 6. But them people that live across from you that's illegal, they each got 1,800. How you do that? How you justify that? And my black politician don't have a problem with it? Nah, homeboy, you need to go.
And that's what we talk about when we talk about critical thinking. You look around and you say, wait a minute, how does this, what do you mean I'm not going to get my Social Security when I retire? I put so much money into it. But you're giving money to people who didn't put into the Social Security system and they're taking out of it, but they didn't put into it. How does that make sense? And then here in California, our gas tax went up 12 cents. Democratic Assembly, not the Republican problem. 75% of the California Assembly is Democrat. They put a 12-cent tax on us to repair our roads. They are not supposed to take from this pot. Governor Gavin Newsom took 30 million or some $60 million out of it to put in the general fund to plug holes in the thing. Where's the prosecution? This is what they do. The sad thing is they do it right in our faces now. They don't even hide it. They're just like, we're just going to take the money and to hell with you guys. But this is what we got to start questioning. We got to start questioning our servants, saying, where's the beef? Where's the money? Maxine Waters rolls around in Washington, D.C. in a limo with a driver. Explain that to me. She lives in the poorest district. She represents the poorest district in California, but she lives in a $6 million mansion in Calabasas next to Dr. Dre. Explain that to me. When you guys have an answer, then maybe I will stop being upset.
These people don't give a damn about American citizens. No one can justify to me how an illegal alien can get $1,800 from a stimulus package, but a birthright American citizen can only get 600. According to Jefferson, you're not in the right tax bracket to get those millions. You'll be in the game. First of all money ain't good money. I don't just take money from anybody. I'm gonna be honest with you. I ain't applied. I got my own company. I ain't applied for no loan. None of that. I don't want nothing from these people. When I told myself I was done with these people, I'm not working for these people no more, I meant that. I meant that, man. So when you on their little gravy train, whether it's through the loans or whether it's through welfare, food stamps, they feel they don't owe you nothing. They feel they don't owe you nothing. But it's a whole bunch of us that go to work every single day that pay our taxes, and the best you could do was 600. And then they play y'all so much that you don't get it. Oh, the Democrats, they in there fighting for 2,000. No, they wasn't. They already knew they were gonna get shot down. What it was supposed to be, who is your gangster on the Democratic side? Demetri, who the gangster on the Republican side?
Mitch McConnell.
So who the gangster on the Democratic side?
Nancy Pelosi.
Nancy Pelosi.
And we keep putting Pelosi in a motherfucking room with Mitch McConnell to negotiate shit for us. Man, this woman couldn't negotiate her way out of a fucking paper bag if they cut dots in it. She has no skill set to represent the African American community. She has no connection to us. Therefore, she's never going to battle for us the way that she should. And in our legislations across the country, we got black politicians, but they ain't worth a fuck either. There it is.
Well, I'm going to say this because, you know, we talk about the illegal immigrants getting their fair, I don't know about fair share, but they're getting their $1,800 and all of that. I mean, they're doing it the right way. You know what I mean by the right way? They are on the same damn page. They're on the same page. They are making it so where these politicians, especially the Congressional Black Caucus, they talk more about illegal immigration issues than they do black issues. And isn't that why they're in existence? To legislate for black people? But they don't do that anymore because they see Hispanics are on the same page. They are galvanized for the purpose of, and they've always had the same purpose of taking back what was taken from them so many years ago. And so they're moving in tandem to do those things. And so does it suck that they're able to get the money that we should be getting? Yeah, it sucks. But it would behoove us to take a page out of their notebook and say, okay, this is how the Mexican moves or Hispanic. This is how Hispanic people move. They buy with each other. You know, they do everything with each other. Hell, in any neighborhood, there's, 2 and 3 and 4, 5, 6, Hispanic grocery stores. How many black grocery stores do we have? So they have economic power. We don't have economic power. We have a bunch of lip service and, well, I wish, and I come in, and then we continue to vote those people in. But Dr. Muhammad, who's been on here plenty of times, has told us, and all the other greats in our community have told us, we have no political power without the money. But we want to continue to whine and cry about what everybody else is getting and what everybody else is doing. They have what we don't have, and that's unity and the attitude of do for self. When we get those things, then the rest is going to be easy. And another thing, if we start making these politicians one-term politicians, everybody else who seeks that position after them is going to go in there and get the job done because they know they won't be there long.
I call them political vampires. Now, why is it that we get outraged at what Trump is doing? He's doing it in the open. But then when you highlight and put the light on these political vampires, y'all get mad and upset because we're showing you they're not doing nothing for you. We're showing you that they're corrupt. We're showing you that they're just making money and in it for themselves. We have to start holding these people accountable because they use our story just like any of these other groups that come to this country. Every group that has come to this country, immediately, where do they move? Where's the first place they go and they know they will be welcomed and they will be safe? To the black neighborhood. They don't go to Beverly Hills. They don't go in the white neighborhood because Mr. Charlie is going to run them up out of there real quick. But then they open up their businesses in our community. They take that money from our community. Then they move out of our community. And then here we are. These black politicians, if you've been following my series, do you know every one of them have a rating of 100% through Planned Parenthood? Black population has been at 13%, to my knowledge, for at least 60 years. At least 60 years. So you guys say, well, who cares about Planned Parenthood? So what? Look at the eugenics program. That's something you guys got to research for yourself. But that's what we got to start doing. Notice real quick, because we're talking about money real quick, because that money makes the world go round. And you guys know Donovan loves the money. What did the Congress come together on and vetoed Donald Trump on, no matter what he said? No matter what he said. The military, the defense stocks, they said, oh no, we got to give them billions. Doesn't matter. Invest in defense stocks. Halliburton, Boeing, Lockheed Martin. The military is always going to get their money. They gave the military money before they gave you your money. This is our money. but they made sure these corporations and the military industrial complex got their money. I make a lot of my money because I have a lot of defense stock.
Now, Errol Jones says, which candidate in Texas should be our number one focus to remove, and who is number two? And then I'll even give you number three. The first one, the governor of Texas needs to go. The second is the lieutenant governor needs to go. And one of their appointees, number three, is Mike Morath, who's over the Texas Education Agency. They need to go. But what they, you know what it is with me.
Ted Cruz needs to go.
Ted Cruz needs to go. And that's all it boils down to. Now, I want to tell you this, Fayville. I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, but I want to get you acclimated to the show because you're new to us. So, Demetra's a lady. She sits up here with us every night. And I know when she first got up here, it had to, shock her with some of the things that are said. And, after a few months, she started using her own cuss words. So I want to get you acclimated to me. And I want to say this to you. These motherfuckers been fucking us for a long motherfucking time. And if our motherfucking ass don't wake up, these fuckers gonna keep fucking us. And that's what it boils down to, because these some dirty motherfuckers playing a dirty motherfucking game. And that's what it is. Now, if those cuss words do not work for you, then you need to understand why I'm frustrated. When you're frustrated, it's gonna come out one way or the other. And me, I like standing in front of their house at 3 o'clock in the morning. Guess who's coming to breakfast, motherfucker? Mr. Monroe coming to breakfast. I don't give a fuck about Ted Cruz. I don't give a fuck about the governor. I say the governor in a gang anyway. He a gang member. He in a wheelchair, ain't he, Donovan? He a real crip. He in a motherfucking gang. Fuck him. Because that's the way he feel about us. When your COVID rate is at 14.9% in the city of Houston, why are you forcing our children to go in those buildings? Ain't nobody gonna do that but a real motherfucker. So welcome to the family, Fayetteville.
Yes, and I just want to say this real quick to Miss Fayetteville and any of our baby boomers. We need your wisdom. We need you guys to sit on the chairman of the board and advise us on some of the things that you guys might have missed during your assault on the system that we might not be thinking of. We need you guys. We need to get together. We need, as a Black family and people, to get together. But do you realize I'm a son of a baby boomer? Demetra's a son of a baby boomer. The general's a son of a baby boomer. Do you realize?
Son of a bitch.
Yeah. Do you realize that the leadership in this country has completely skipped over our generation? And then the baby boomers are appalled that these young millennials are into socialism. Well, golly, they never got no, because what I couldn't provide for my kids, my mom would provide, my dad would provide, or whatever. And that's that's what scares you guys, because they are so atomically opposed to what you're used to. So our generation, it's a wrap for us. So when I see these young people kicking ass and taking names and being unapologetic, I applaud that shit, because you know what? If they ain't gonna fight for themselves, nobody's gonna fight for them.
Demetra, ain't it strange to you that one, it's a bunch of lies being told? As you get more acclimated with Texas, you'll figure it out. The lie they told us, look, if we do the lotto in the scratch offs, then we're gonna take this money and we're gonna put it in the education, the extra money. So why you got school districts paying the state of Texas instead of y'all paying us, paying the schools? And then when you don't want to pay your ass, then they want to put you in this recapture shit and screw you across the board. Don't you find it strange, Demetra, that all the gambling money goes across the border to Oklahoma and Louisiana? Why you got us playing the lotto? Why you just can't do gambling in Texas? Oh, it's the Bible Belt or whatever. Man, I don't want to hear that shit. No, what it is, you motherfuckers getting paid under the table for it not to come here. For rather than paying y'all under the table for it not to come here. See, it's a lot of ways we can make money. LaTanya Whittington, faithful viewer, she going to Austin, and I know she going free to weed. She want the weed free. Make marijuana legal. Let's make some money in Texas. But see, ain't no fun if your homie can't have none. You ain't gonna let us make no money. Even if you allow marijuana to be legal, you're gonna make it it's gonna be so expensive for the average black man to open a dispensary that we ain't gonna be able to do it. So all this is just a joke. We need to stop spending our money with these people, man. Final thoughts, Ms. Demetra.
Well, my final thoughts are, we've had a very spirited discussion, and one that we've learned a lot from. But just to go back to the original topic, we need to make people aware of what's going on with, especially our young people who are fighting for their lives due to to protect themselves. But Gary, like you said, you know, these young people aren't going to put up with it anymore. But let's stop leaving them out there by themselves. It'd be easier, as I said, to defend yourself if you knew you had a nation behind you that will stop at nothing to make sure that justice is served to you. So we need to, again, get on the same page. Let's spread the word about these two young men. And Gary, what is the first gentleman's name? Said Cameron or Cam?
Cameron Jaquit.
Okay, so Cameron Jaquit and Deshawn Douglas. Both of these young men are fighting for their freedom due to protecting themselves against white supremacy. Get the word out. Share the story with as many people as you can so that they'll know. And then ultimately the call to action should be, let's get on the same page and help these brothers so that, you know, we'll find less and less of our people in this situation. But again, the blame is on us that they're in the situation. And we need to fix that. So that's all I have to say, really.
Final thoughts, Donald.
The new black media, I get a lot of my information, not only just on this page, on my show, Demetra's show, the 5-Star Show, the Hood CNN. There's all kinds of alternative articles you can go to and sources you can go to find out what is going on in our communities. You're not going to hear CNN cover this. Unless it's something astronomical, that they're only going to show that. And then when they show it, they put their narrative on it. So you guys continue to support the new black media. And again, I love this show because we have great conversations with the greatest audience. And sometimes we make new friends. And like I said, if you're watching this for the first time, it might be shocking. But like Demetra says all the time, where's the lie in a lot of what we're saying, or, a lot of other shows and what they're saying. So, what's her name? Miss Fayetteville. I'm sorry if I'm saying that. Miss Fayetteville, spread the word, let people know. I mean, we have a stock investor that comes on here on Cornucopia, Mr. Walter Coulter. We give financial advice. We give all kinds of advice to try to help our people. And that's what we're here to do. We are at war. That's why it's called the war zone, because we are running out of time. Black people have less than 12 years before we have no wealth within our community. They're already starting to take it.
15th of January, I'll be in Cleveland, Ohio, standing next to Mia Rice's mom as we continue to fight to get justice. Somalian brother gunned down the other night in Minneapolis. Same thing, a couple of blocks from where George was, killed. I'm one person, but I'm gonna fight until the higher power takes the air out of my body. I can promise you that. I'm gonna fight until he takes the air out of my body. So the only thing I can tell you is you may want to do the same thing. I leave you with this. A simple quote. I'd rather die on my back than to live on my knees any day of the week. And I'm serious about that. I'd rather die on my back than to live on my knees. Say, man, another spirited discussion from the best in the business. That's why who we are. It's the war zone, baby. I want to thank my good friend Donovan Sadiq, the Queen, Demetri K. I am the 5-star general tomorrow night. They call him the GOAT. His name is Brad Jordan, and they know him as Mr. Scarface. But Brad said there's a Houston rapper that's his favorite rapper of all time, because he can flat out go. He's in the Guinness Book of World Records. His name is K Reno, and he'll be here tomorrow night. But we're going to talk about violence and rap music. A true legend in the building tomorrow night. Until then, we'll holler at you.